2nd, 2018. If everyone would rise, join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our meetings are recorded electronically. We go by an agenda. Anyone wishing to have something placed on the agenda for discussion by council should have had it by the last Wednesday of the previous month by 3 o'clock to Town Hall. Anyone wishing to speak tonight, we ask you to sign over here where our town managers are. Approval of minutes from April 4th, 2018, tab 3. Donna has emailed them out twice to everyone.
I'll make a motion and we accept those minutes.
Okay.
We have a motion by Councilman Smith, seconded by Councilwoman Schultz, to approve the minutes from April 4th, 2018 Town Council meeting. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, so carried. Reports, council committees, Public Works, Councilman Hoffman.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council and citizens. It's been quite busy for the Public Works crew since we finally are seeing some spring and maybe jumped right into summer here for a couple of days, it seems. But they've been working on already mowing the town properties and lots of cleanups. One thing I wanted to quickly talk about was trash last weekend. They filled 3 dumpsters and had about 50 residents participating in that. And don't forget, yard waste is being picked up now on the 1st and 3rd Wednesday of each month. Please try to keep your bags under 40 pounds for the crew. The Planning Commission did meet in April, and I'll discuss the short-term rental property ordinance that we've been working on under old business.
Thank you. Any questions or comments for Councilman Hoffman? Water and Sewer, Councilman Paulsgrove.
I'll defer to the managers over here for some items under water and wastewater, other than the fact that according to Jack, our repairs are on schedule for the SBR tanks at the wastewater treatment plant. So we're just awaiting the next phases of that.
And we'll get a report on that shortly. Any questions for Councilman Paulsgrove? Public Safety, Councilman Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening. Just a couple quick things. I'll defer to the town deputy for the report on the monthly stats. I just want to remind everybody that August 7th is going to be the National Night Out that we participated in when Corporal Townsend was here, and we're going to continue that. My understanding is that the deputy and Kalina have been working on that, Deputy Clausy and I will meet after this meeting, and we're going to talk about a few things with it as well. I have seen and read some complaints coming out of Atlee Ridge in reference to people rolling through the stop signs. That's probably something that happens in probably all the neighborhoods. I don't know what the spike was on that, but I'm sure the deputy will take care of that as he has. I just want to remind people that with warmer weather means the kids come out and they play and they run in the streets, and sometimes the kids don't remember that the cars are bigger than they are. And so just make sure that we're keeping our speed down, obeying all the traffic control devices, specifically stop signs. Also be aware, school's almost out. You got a lot of young kids getting their driver's license, and they get their cars for graduation. So just be mindful of that. I'm sure we'll work close with the deputy to making sure that everything is up to par on that. I understand that the Sheriff's Department is going to have some stepped-up patrols for traffic enforcement. I read that press release. So that's those speed traps, so everybody might want to watch that. The other thing I just want to say is last week I was able to participate down in Annapolis with the bill signing of some things that are near and dear to me, one of them being the governor signed a bill that will now increase the penalties for animal cruelty. Specifically, judges will now be allowed to or forbid people that are convicted of animal fighting or animal cruelty from owning animals. That sounds like something that it may come as a surprise to you that wasn't the law all along. wrong, but it actually was not. Now judges actually can tell people they can't own animals, and he's also outlawed puppy mill puppies from being sold in Maryland. Also, while I was down there, Councilwoman Custen, who is on the legislative committee for the Maryland Municipal League, helped with drafting the proposal for having the state highway revenue funds reinstated. And she since she couldn't meet down there, she could not be there for that. I was asked to represent her and Maryland Municipal League. It was my honor and privilege to do that. I happened to be standing right behind Speaker of the House Bush when the bill was signed, and I was lucky enough for Speaker Bush to present me with the pen that was used to sign the bill, and I'm going to actually pass that down to the person I think that most deserves it, Councilwoman Custen. She has been on that legislative committee, and I think that she's earned that. So that's it.
Thank you, Ed.
Thank you.
Any questions for Councilman Smith? Thank you, Ed. Economic Development, Councilwoman Schultz.
Not too much to report this month. The Carroll County Downtowns group did not meet, and so I don't have any updates on the project for the video right now. I did attend the HSP board meeting, and I also got an email today that they were fully funded, including a 2% increase, so that was great news. So happy to be able to report that.
Good. Thank you. Any questions for Councilwoman Schultz? Community Enhancement, Councilwoman Custen.
Thank you. And thank you, Ed, for representing both New Windsor and the Animal Humane Society you work for and the legislative committee at the signing. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for the pen. My very first legislative pen ever. Thank you. Also, we had a beautiful day Saturday for the beautification of New Windsor. Thank you, Kalina, who organized it again this year and did a great job. Everything was ready for us, and the town looks beautiful. Hopefully we'll do it again next year with the baby, who should be able to pick weeds by then, right? So it was a lovely morning. Hopefully we can, as always, see if we can get more people involved. It was pretty quick work, but it would be nice to have a bigger gathering. And that's about it for now.
Thank you. Any questions for Councilwoman Custen? Mayor's Report, tab 5, but before I go to my report, Gary, if you would come forward. Up front here. We are fortunate enough to have, probably for the next 4 days, 2 town managers. Probably not any municipality other than New Windsor, United States, that has 2 town managers. But, we can brag about that for a little bit. But Gary started on the 9th, I believe, of April, and tonight, if you would repeat after me, say I and your name, where I say my name. Raise your right hand. I, Neal Roop.
I, Gary Dodd.
Do swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States.
Do swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States.
That I will be faithful.
I will be faithful.
And bear true allegiance.
And bear true allegiance.
To the state of Maryland.
To the state of Maryland.
And support the Constitution.
And support the Constitution.
And laws thereof.
And laws thereof.
And that I will.
And I will.
To the best of my skill and judgment.
To the best of my skill and judgment.
Diligently and faithfully.
Diligently and faithfully.
Without partiality or prejudice.
Without partiality or prejudice.
Execute the office of town manager.
Execute the office of town manager.
Of the town of New Windsor.
Of the town of New Windsor.
According to the Constitution and laws of the state.
According to the Constitution and laws of the state.
Welcome officially.
Thank you.
It was a busy month, lots going on in town with Streetscape, which you'll hear a little bit later in Town Manager's Report. College Avenue and Blue Ridge, we had an informational meeting, went I think very well. Here was a special meeting and it was well attended. A lot of people had some questions and they were answered. We're getting ready to break ground on a about 800 to 900, I guess almost $1 million when you come down to about $1 million project here in town. And we're getting $673,000 in grant money after three attempts. I finally was successful in the third attempt last year. So hopefully everybody sees what good grant writing and grant applications does, so that when we go into another neighborhood and ask for a income study or income survey, that they'll be willing to do that. We had Dealman Inn Foundation assessment with Lewis Contractors. Lewis Contractors is very active with Preservation Maryland. They are very excited about getting busy with not just the foundation, but they would be really interested in doing a lot of renovations at Dealman Inn. So Preservation Maryland also had a planning session that Councilwoman Schultz attended with an expert in basically doing a site plan for Dealman Inn. So be able to, she'll say this should go here, this should go there, and it'll give investors a clearer picture of what can really go there. I met with the Partnership for Action, Learning, and Sustainability. Acronym is PALS, with Yuri Avon and two other folks from the University of Maryland. They are coming out, I've mentioned this before, with the growth of the reserve at New Windsor, Snyder Summit, and potentially a large growth of boarding students at Springdale. We could see an increase of our population go from about 1,500 to about 2,200. And I just want to make sure that we are ready in the next 3 to 5 years, that we are able to provide the services. Had a state highway streetscape meeting on the 27th. We've got some news that I'll let Frank address, or Gary, and I will follow up at that time with a meeting I had shortly after with Senator Justin Reedy. And then yesterday we had a conference call for future the pay-as-you-go or pay-as-you-throw trash collection. There's some answers that we got yesterday, and I'm not sure if the council is ready to vote tonight, but that's on old business. And my highlight for today, unfortunately, in one way, was lunch with Frank Schaeffer. So, Frank, it was a pleasure, and I'll go into more detail on my thoughts for the past 7.5 years a little later in the meeting. Any questions for me? All right. Community Deputy.
Good evening.
Evening, Brian.
The Sheriff's Office responded to 59 calls for service within the town between the 1st and the 30th of April. Out of those calls for service, 5 required a report, and those are as follows. April 9th at approximately 10:05 in the morning, deputies responded to the 100 block of Main Street in reference to a malicious destruction of property. Investigation revealed that unknown suspects had shot out the passenger side window of a vehicle parked in the parking lot with a pellet gun, also known as a BB gun. Investigation continues on that one. On April 12th at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, deputies, while on routine patrol, located a printer sitting in the middle of the roadway, causing traffic hazard. At the time, the printer was seized as found property. Nobody has claimed it. The case has been closed. April 13th, at 6:56 in the morning, deputies completed a traffic stop on a vehicle. During the stop, it was discovered the driver was found to be driving on a suspended license. The driver was released on citations and notice to appear. On April 16th at 4:15, deputies completed a traffic stop for a speed violation. During the traffic stop, it was when the driver was in violation of the court-ordered ignition interlock device program. Subject was released on citations and a notice to appear. On April 22nd, at approximately 4 p.m., deputies, while conducting traffic enforcement in the area of Main Street and Church Street, observed a motorcycle pass the location without a registration plate being displayed. Upon completing a traffic stop on the motorcycle on Union Bridge Road and Spurline Drive, it was discovered the driver was driving an unregistered, uninsured vehicle in the roadway. Driver was released on citations and notice to appear. Other notes, on April 8th, the Sheriff's Office completed a saturation patrol within town limits in the afternoon. During that time, 5 deputies conducted enforcement within the town limits, which resulted in 7 violations within an hour to motorists who were in violation of the traffic laws. In the future, those will continue. Now that it's spring, as what Councilman Smith said, please beware of your surroundings while you're driving your vehicle. Last year alone, on 31, we had 7 fatalities, so we are going to step up traffic enforcement. So please be leery of your speed, also traffic control devices, and so on and so forth. And in the near future, I was told to bring this up as well, in the near future, to assist in deterring criminal offenses in the community, such as the parks, portable cameras will be periodically moved around in those areas. So that's all I have. Any questions? Yep.
I hear what you're saying about the enforcement of the traffic laws, including speed. I was just wondering, is there any way that we could make New Windsor famous as a speed trap?
I'm slowly but surely working on that.
Because that would be great. If people know that if you come into New Windsor and you're speeding, you're done for, at least, periodically.
So I will say that within the past month, I finished the month out with 150 violations between both towns. Most of them were citations. The previous month for that, March was 98 traffic violations, and the month prior to that was 106. So truly trying.
How do we make people aware of it?
The more that they see me with my red and blues sitting alongside the road with cars, I think that will get the hint. So
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Is there any way in the New Windsor that we can make fines double?
No. Unfortunately not. No. Yep.
And half of it goes to others.
Unfortunately not. So.
I appreciate what you're doing. I'd rather it be something like a speed-safe town than a
Yes.
speed trap. You get the nickname speed trap, it's a negative towards a town, and I'm not
So,
looking for
and
negative
with those,
names.
it's also stop signs and that kind of stuff as well. So trying to step up the
Doing a good
enforcement of
job.
everything. So
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
West Carroll Rec Council, Kevin.
Mr. Mayor, I don't have a report, but we are continuing our search for a rec council accountant. So if you know anyone, feel free to contact me or contact the council president, Heather McKenzie. And our site is online on Facebook, or you can just look up West Carroll Rec Council. But that's it. Thank you.
I'm sure Councilwoman Schultz will put that on our Facebook page.
I did already, but we'll try it again.
Yeah.
Try it again.
The incumbent's been there for 25 plus years, and she's seen several generations come and go. So
Yeah.
she's ready to retire.
Not a problem. Thank you. Fire Chief, Chief Tom Coe.
I bring you good news, as my attire represents. I think the season is through. And this weekend, we will officially be taking our snow markers off the fire hydrants. Figured everybody would like that. Let's see, what month? April. April was another busy month for the fire department. Some of our highlighted responses include a pretty significant woods fire off of Hawks Hill Road, collision on Sam's Creek Road, and just general support for the community and our mutual aid departments. May is a pretty busy month for events at the fire station. On May the 12th, the auxiliary will be having a chicken or shrimp dinner. That's $10 on May the 12th. Something new we're trying on May the 19th, we're having a comedy show. So beverages and setups are included, $15 tickets, and the entertainment is Wendy Townsend, who's apparently of 98 Rock fame. So local comedian down here at the fire station, come on down and support that. My biggest news is the carnival's coming. I'm sure everyone's excited. Everyone's probably starting to get their need for crab cakes. So that's June the 4th through June the 9th, with our annual parade being June the 6th. That's really all I have, unless you guys have any questions for me. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And most likely, the month of June, we'll probably have our town council meeting at our work session, since that's parade night. Town manager, tab 6.
Evening, everyone.
Evening.
Blue Ridge Stormwater Management, the retrofit, that the filling of the lagoon is complete, and the contractor finished up removing the temporary access road and stabilizing last week, so that project is pretty much complete, and it looks good. We're waiting to get a little bit of stabilization on it if we get some rain. Blue Ridge and College Avenues, the plans have been submitted to agencies for review. We need to get approvals from Sediment Control, Stormwater Management, and State Highway Administration. The water line relocation portion was awarded to Mid-Atlantic Utilities. We had a pre-construction meeting on April 26th, and then a notice to proceed was issued April 30th. So Mid-Atlantic is scheduled to mobilize and start test pitting on the existing utilities May 29th, and then we'll start full-scale construction Thursday, I believe, the 7th of June after the parade. So they're going to be in town, but they're not going to be really getting started right away with the carnival and the parade going on. They're going to be doing some test pitting initially, but then once the carnival ends, they're going to get started full swing. The sludge press, 60% submission has been received. We put this project on hold and been pushed back for a year or two due to the College Avenue and the wastewater treatment tank repair projects with the cost of those. And we're going to investigate into if the sludge press can be funded through an E&R project. So we're going to speak with our engineers and see what kind of funding's available with an E&R there. So kind of shelved that back a little bit. The Atlee Ridge project, Project Open Space, the project was awarded to Playground Specialist. The service agreement has been signed. Equipment has been ordered, and we have a pre-construction meeting scheduled for this Friday, May the 4th, and work is scheduled to start on May the 15th. Approximately 1 week to complete is what they're anticipating on that. The wastewater treatment plant repairs, the sludge tank has been drained and cleaned. After much negotiations with Mid-Atlantic Storage Systems and Advanced Rehabilitation Technologies, we've reached an agreement on work to be done, the schedule, and the cost sharing involved. Some of the panels will be replaced in the sludge tank and the SBR, again, depending on the condition, so we're going to be doing evaluation of those. And then the interior sides of the tanks will be coated. The coating will provide a 10-year warranty on anything that is coated. And the SBR tank 1 has been drained and was power cleaned this week. And Mid-Atlantic Storage Systems is to start work on the panels. I believe it's Monday, May the 7th, and then Advanced Rehab Technologies, a SpectraShield liner company's coming in the following Monday on the 14th of May. The rate study done by Edgar Jones and presented at the April 16th work session. The rates have been adjusted and incorporated into the proposed budget, and the budget hearing will be held at the work session on May 21st. The future pay-as-you-throw, we had the public information meeting was held on April 16th prior to the work session and attended by approximately 65 residents. We had a lot of good comments and discussion, and I think it overall was positive feedback from the citizens. Carroll County supports and is behind the pilot study, so the council needs to discuss and address some issues and concerns and make a decision as to whether you want to move forward with that pilot study. I'm going to have a little bit more on that later on in the session here. Pothole repair, C.J. Miller was awarded a bid. We had a meeting and walkthrough yesterday with Miller and their foreman. Based on Miller's recommendations, the extent of the patching increased to make for a better job, meaning the areas that we had thought we were going to do, the sizes increased. So due to the constraints on that, we're going to do bigger areas, but on pretty much less locations. We think that based on their recommendations, that will provide better overall product versus smaller patches. We also discovered 2 or 3 more inlets that need repaired in these areas. Some of the top sections of the brick have fallen out over time. And if you're going to be repairing paving in these areas and you have faulty structures, you need to repair those structures first before you do any paving in there. So we've also asked Miller for a price on repairing some paving around several manholes in various town roads. We'll have to wait and see what kind of price we get from them on that. There's sections where the manholes have settled or raised a little bit over time and create either a bump or in either direction and issues with the plows if they're sticking up higher. So we'll see where that price comes in. For the streetscape, the sewer lining part of the streetscape, bids were requested for the replacement of 6 to 8 manhole ringing covers within the state 31 portion, and we did not receive any bids. So what we're going to do is we're going to incorporate the repair of those 6 to 8 manholes in with the proposed water main work and get it done at that time. These manholes have been damaged by plows and have also caused damage to the plows when they hit them. So the water line design, we had a meeting on the April 27th at the town hall. GMB, our design engineers, developing 65% drawings. They're expected in October 2018. They're about 4 to 5 months behind, pretty much due to turnaround time and working with the state, which is kind of par for the course. We're awaiting a determination regarding the traffic circle still yet. It does seem that the traffic circle is the best method to address all the intersection geometry and traffic speed concerns. The additional cost to the project due to the traffic circle is estimated to be $855,000. Cost responsibility on that depends on prior rights with the state. We're going to look at it. They have a RW57 form that we're going to need to look at and submit to District 7. And I'm also going to be contacting District 7 to touch base with those folks to discuss that situation there. So SHA also has assigned a new project manager to this project. It's Marguerite Smith Clark. The lighting portion of that meeting with SHA resulted in a number of possible revisions to the lighting plan, which are presently being under consideration by the State Highway. The town's revisions were included eliminating 1 or 2 poles at the far end of the project, reducing the wattage by 1/3 at each of the pole locations, thus reducing the amount of wire. So the revisions could potentially lower the town's portion of the lighting to about $200,000, we're thinking, and we're waiting on a revised cost estimate from SHA on that. And then the progress meeting, I said, was held April 27th with the new project manager and our design engineer. One thing Mayor Roop alluded to is, and he might speak more on this, is that the information that the project manager from State Highway gave us was that there's a Fund 84, which is their funding, the fund for construction, does not have any money. So that's probably what you were going to be talking to, or what you did talk to Senator Reedy about. So that's all I have. If anybody has any questions, I'm glad to try to answer them.
Just on the State Highway issue, kind of shocked Frank and I that after 4 years, 5 years, been working with State Highway, they never guaranteed money, but they always gave us assurances that the money was there. Even 2 or 3 years ago when the Democrats took the authority away from the governor to approve projects around the state and had the new rating system, that money was not supposed to be for us anyway. So this Fund 84, we were always told, don't worry about it, it'll be there, it'll happen. And the other day, I expressed my displeasure, said that was pretty much unacceptable. And that was at 10 o'clock, and at 10:30, Senator Reedy was up at Springdale talking to the students. Afterwards, I asked him if he had a few minutes. I gave him the timeline, and so he has the whole project there in front of him, and he was going to get a hold of Delegate Shoemaker and see what was going on. So we're working on it from the state level, but the philosophy and kind of the, I guess, mutual agreement was, or understanding, was that we weren't going to go this far and be in $4 million in debt if the state wasn't going to come and do their portion. So that's huge, not in a good way. So was not happy.
Just to elaborate a little bit, I don't know, State Highway has different ways of doing things, I'll say it that way. They have fully funded for design, so they have money for these projects, and they fully fund the design part of it, but they don't always, the construction comes from a different source, and they're not the same amount of funding, it's not the same pot of funding, so that's the way they do things, so.
And on the Blue Ridge Stormwater Management retrofit, I've walked out there Sunday, I guess it was, and I was really amazed how fast the grass is growing all around there, and it's a nice facility now. So something else to mow, but at least they'll be able to mow fairly easy. But also, it's the flat area. If they want to play ball out there or something, I guess they probably, a little recreational area, unless it's raining, of course. But but that's really a nice facility out there.
Okay.
Thank you, Gary. Treasures, Donna, tab 7.
Okay, as of April 30th, our general fund balance was $213,607.86. The general fund capital budget is $158,600.92. Enterprise fund is $349,994.43. Enterprise capital reserve in 3 Rs, $378,640.49. Developer fees balance is $557,887.46. Money market is at $37,484.83, and lagoon remediation is at $212,431.65. Not much change. Real property, you can tell spring is here because the numbers are up. We have 12 properties for sale and 8 in a foreclosure process, so a total of 20. And the late charges on the water sewer bills will be assessed tomorrow.
Thank you, Donna.
You're welcome.
Lehigh, no one's from Lehigh Cement. Any residents' concerns?
No one signed up.
No one signed up? All right. Old business, short-term rental ordinance, tab 8. Councilman Hoffman, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Okay. Mayor and Council, as you know, the Planning Commission has been, for the last several months, working on a short-term rental ordinance. For those not familiar with that, it's kind of like an Airbnb. Since there is projected growth in the town, say with the school, we thought there may be folks that want to come to town and want to take advantage of a short-term rental property, an Airbnb type situation. So in order to get ahead of that, the Planning Commission has been looking at putting together a zoning ordinance that would allow that in town. At the last meeting last month, the ordinance was at a point where the Planning Commission decided that it was ready to go to be brought forth to the council to have you take a look at it. A couple provisions in the ordinance that we have talked about. It is in effect in all the residential districts, so there's that they would allow the short-term rental properties to take place. And we are requiring that someone that is interested in doing that register their property with the town and and display a certificate that we would give them to ensure that they were part of this program for the town. So we tried to take as least intrusive position that we could, but to have a little bit of control over it. So tab 8 is the ordinance as written. I'm sure you'll want to take a look at it. I could certainly entertain any questions now, but if you'd like to take a look at it, and if you think it's ready to go, maybe we can have a formal discussion and then possibly introduce it at the work session later in the month.
I think that's wise to let everybody take a look at it, and if they have any questions, come back to the June work session slash town, or no, the May work session, introduce it, and then possibly vote on it in June.
I have one question.
Certainly.
When you say it has to be registered, or that's what you propose in this ordinance, is that an annual registration or 6-month registration or just a one-time only registration?
So I believe that we were thinking an annual registration.
With a fee?
There would be a small fee, yes.
Okay.
Any questions? This came about last year. I asked Councilman Hoffman to take it before the Planning Commission. We didn't have anything on our books, and I just feel with the growth at Springdale and other things that people may want to take advantage of short-term rental units in their homes and make a little side money and keep the folks here in New Windsor instead of surrounding communities and spending money there. So thank you, Dave and Mark, who's chairman here. Thank you. Appreciate that. Any questions? All right. Staying with tab 8, the future pilot study.
Okay, as we mentioned earlier, we had a conference call earlier this week with Waste Zero and Dusty Hilbert with Carroll County Solid Waste, and just council has been, I said some discussion points that I just wanted to bring up and have you guys share with you all and get some of these, try to get some of these things out on the table. You've all, the council has had meetings and discussions and presentations on the future or pay-as-you-throw program over the last couple of months. So finally I put together just a summary of some things that you need to discuss further before making your final determination. We're anticipating that the pilot study will be a 11-month study beginning August 1st and run until the end of the fiscal year. After 8 or 9 months into the program, Waste Zero will provide an analysis of where we are and then a final report prior to the end of the pilot study. The rebates to the customers, we're looking at thinking about frequency of 2 times, one at the beginning of the study and then the second one halfway through the pilot. The first amount or rebate would be $25, and then we would reevaluate the amount for the second based on where we are with the tonnage at the halfway point. Rebates will be redeemable gift card type scenario at specific locations. The Waste Zero will handle administering the cards. So we're also looking at, you have to look at locations for the purchases of the bags. I know we'd mentioned some previously, the 7-Eleven, Safeway, et cetera, places like that, perhaps where the bags would be purchased. Be also, get the cards there. So we're looking at, if we get this list of locations, we can provide those to Waste Zero, and Kristen will handle contacting those locations about participating and coordinating that effort there. Another thing to consider is how to handle the businesses. We're going to develop a list of the businesses. I mean, there's approximately 15 or so. Waste Zero does have commercial-sized bags for business use. They won't have the town New Windsor logo or identification on them, but we could use those larger-sized bags for the commercial users and possibly distribute those out of town hall, since it's not really that many, not that many businesses. Also, consider how you want to handle the rental units and the renters. We want I would think we'd all want the renters to get the gift cards. They're the ones that are going to be purchasing the bags and actually participating in the program. So we're going to, again, develop a list and number of rental units. I believe we can get that out of our water and sewer database. And then if addresses are available, you could do a mail notification letter to educate the renters about the program and purchasing the bags. And then, again, Waste Zero has offered to assist contacting the renters, going door to door with a person, to help out in that capacity as well. So, basically, you guys got a lot to think about, but want to decide sooner or later that if you want to go ahead with the program and let the county know where we go if we're interested in moving forward. So, it's kind of a summary for you.
Discussion?
I think we really need to take a hard look at what this does to our businesses. We always talk that we want to be business-friendly town. We always talk about, maybe another restaurant or so in the future. Looking at a restaurant that uses 5 bags a day, times 7 days in a week, times 52 weeks, it's about a $3,500 bill for bags. So that may not be very business-friendly. I don't know what this new bag, it's first seen, I don't know what kind of cost and how much it holds and things like that.
Good question.
But I think we really need to take a hard look at it. Marcy brought up his business. Something like his business, he may be able to, if it took $3 bags for a customer's interior of their car, he could possibly pass that on as a $5 disposal fee, such as you pay for car maintenance. But that doesn't work for all businesses at all, to be able to transfer that fee to their customers. So if we intend to be business friendly, I think we need to take a hard look at what this program will do to them.
But it is a tax write-off for all businesses, so it's not like it's completely, on the business's tab. Every bit of that is, you can write off.
Okay. I didn't know that, but okay. We need to take that all into consideration.
Well, the flip side of that is that now if the business is paying for their trash service through a property tax, and if they're disposing of that many bags on a daily or weekly basis, it's probably disproportionate in terms of the amount of service that the town is providing to that business versus what we're providing to residents. So
I certainly agree with that, and that's what I'm talking about, the business friendly.
right, I understand.
So,
Any other comments?
I agree with, I understand what Dave's concern is, but one of the selling points for this program is that it was equitable, so you sort of pay for what you get rid of. You can't, if you're buying bags, that's a business expense. I'm not a tax accountant, but I know that most businesses can deduct all their expenses. So, basically, if at the restaurant throwing away 5 bags of trash a day, and I only throw one every 2 weeks, I'm paying to throw away their trash, and that's kind of one of the ideas for this program. So, I can see both sides of it. But so, was it our intention to decide this tonight? Is that what we're asking? Because there's a lot of things to discuss in this briefing.
I just brought it up for some points that we got on our conference call. I know that Waste Zero and the county are eager to get it going. If we're looking at the time frame, you have the new ecology starting July 1, I believe, right? And, we wanted to give not start both programs in the same month, so we're going to be a month behind that. So you're looking at August 1st, so it's really not that far away. So just...
And I'd be curious as to if the restaurant throws away 5 bags of trash a day, I'd be curious what's in that trash. If it encourages them to recycle more, that's great. There are places that could take their composting trash. So I'm curious as to what fills up their trash cans.
So I'm not advocating for anybody's business. I am bringing up business in general. And a lot of towns subsidize their businesses to have that in there. I am only bringing to our attention that we need to think hard about it. I am not advocating that we subsidize anybody's trash or anything like that. I just want us to think hard about that before we jump into this program. That's all.
May I chime in just a little bit? So in town, we have actually 2 businesses or 2 dealing with trash 2 different ways. You have some businesses that are paying for commercial dumpster, and they have that service, and we don't pick theirs up. And then we have some businesses that we do pick up. So we have 2 different ways it's happening in town. I'll talk with Councilman Paulsgrove a little bit. One of the things we want to do, and it shouldn't be a big deal, we're going to our circuit rider to go to the businesses and survey them, find out what are you doing, and to your question, Sandy, is how much are you throwing away? Are you throwing away 1 bag, or are you throwing away 5 bags? So that we have a sense of what the impact would be on businesses, because that's a horse of a different color. You want to make sure you get that right. But then to your point, Councilman, is that's what the program's about. And if we can get businesses to also reduce, then it goes to the effectiveness of the program. So there's a lot to think about, but the first step is to really get a sense of what's happening with businesses now, because we know there's a basic inequity there. For some businesses, they're paying and they're not getting any service.
So we are having that survey done?
That's something that Mike's going to be working on. He's here next week. And that's his.
So will we have results for that by our work session?
I would say by the 21st session, you'll have good information.
That's almost 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I mean, Waste Zero wants us to approve this yesterday. And I told them on the phone, I said, well, council needs more time to discuss mainly the renters and the commercial properties. And I just don't think we were able to do that in 1 day's time. So,
if there's some information you would like us to ferret out between now and the 21st, just let us know that. And then when I say we, I mean Gary. We'll have the answers, and you'll be in a position to make a decision that night if you care to.
I think if we knew that, if we knew how much the business bags cost, I like the idea of them helping to go and contact the renters so that we can have because we certainly don't want the landlords getting the gift cards. We want the renters to get the gift cards. So, anything that they can do to do some of this work for us so that we have all the information we need to decide on these things, I think we could make a decision that night. But this would be a lot of discussion, and I don't think we can make a decision. We don't have all the information we need.
Right.
And one of the things with the gift cards, I thought it was a good idea that the gift cards were only acceptable at the locations that had the bags. I mean, it'd kind of be an incentive for the businesses to do it, and then maybe even, whether you paid for the bags with that gift card or you bought something else with it, it would have to be at one of those businesses.
Why? Why?
So that they wouldn't go somewhere else and not have money for the bags, or I don't think it's a good idea.
I don't know that. Well, I'm just curious as to why we think we have to.
Well, it'd be an incentive for the businesses in town to sell the bags.
Well, Custen didn't say. I would be surprised if people weren't selling the bags. Once you have people in the store to sell the bags, they're going to buy something else too.
Right. But if they have a card to say 7-Eleven, they're going to either buy the bags or support that business. They're not going to go to Westminster and spend all that money on something out of town.
You mean the $25?
Yeah.
Well, we can probably talk about that.
Work session.
We'll put that on the agenda for a work session. It'll be a busy work session.
What else is new?
211 High Street building repairs, that's Town Hall.
Yeah.
Again,
So this is actually, I didn't put a briefing paper in for this, but it is going to mesh into the next item, which is the 2018 budget transfers. So you recall we had some money that we didn't expend for the community deputy program, and we were looking to put it on some projects. And one of the things we talked about was doing some upgrades and repairs to things at Town Hall. So there were some minor things, some electrical work, a repair to the wall in Donna's office, and that was about $7,500. Then there was a more extensive remodeling, if you were, of the front of the building to create a little more space. And that was about 18,000. I think it was a total of 25. So at that time, then you started considering some other options, and we kind of put that on hold there for a little bit. I did talk with Dave Bullock, and he did confirm that what he was talking about was only the act of moving the wall. It didn't include any of the more extensive renovations of how to make it that area more of an entryway, and providing some safety for the receptionist, and so that did not include that, which was, what I'm saying is it's clear now that that's going to be there's going to be more to that than was in that. And I just wanted to update you that you had asked me about that. I don't have pricing on it, but I did talk to Dave, and as you know, we talked about other options, and so until you kind of filter that out, we don't know exactly what you want to do there. So that's
you would
the
just
update.
want to carry on to fiscal year 2018?
So, as I said, we had about $65,000 of unexpended funds from the Community Deputy Program, and that's previously been discussed with the council. And there was general agreement to put $10,000 of that back for a fund in case something came up in the law enforcement, maybe some paying for some overtime, or paying for some things to support enforcement programs. So that was that. We talked about the repairs for Town Hall. Some of the basic repairs amount to about $7,125. The remodeling of the front area was another $8,400. However, these are not the full renovations which I just told you about. So that's what's going on there. The town has a bid and awarded a road patching contract for $48,000. The public works budget needs to be supplemented by $18,347 to fund that $48,000 contract. So that's something we need to do. And as Gary talked about earlier, the paving contractor and town staff walked the areas to be patched, and they've identified additional storm drains and paving repairs that should be done. So if you look down, there's a little bit of accounting. We have $65,812 available, $10,000 for law enforcement, $10,000 for these basic town hall repairs, and I just use $10,000 because there might be some other things that come out when you start into that. $18,000 to supplement the current patching contract, so that's $38,000 in total transfers. That leaves you with $27,465 that hasn't been assigned. What I'm suggesting that you consider is putting all of that money into the road patching project, because I understand saying. If you're going to do a patch and you run into an inlet that needs fixing, you should fix it. If you want the patch to work, you should find the area that makes sense to do it, and that's a good spend. That's money well spent keeping your roads in good shape. Otherwise, I guess you can hold that $27,000, and it would fall to your fund balance at the end of the fiscal year if you didn't spend it on something else. But I would like you to consider going ahead and transferring that to road patching, which would give you about $75,000 for road patching. So there you go. But
And heavens knows, 75
Doesn't get you very far.
won't do the whole job, but it's a visible project. And as you remember, when the last tax increase, part of that was to do road improvements. So this is kind of consistent with that tax increase that you put in. 3 cents was supposed to go to road projects. So
So if anybody's ridden around town, know we have a lot of work that needs to be done. I support that recommendation, council.
So, I'm just making sure I get this right. So the original bidding process for patching that we had was somewhere in the neighborhood of $48,000, is that what I'm
that's the
understanding?
contract that we awarded.
Correct.
And I knew that we were going to have to supplement that.
Right. So when you say supplement, what you're basically saying is we're increasing the cost of that from $48,000 up to whatever it is, $56,000.
We're going to take
$66,000.
We're going to take 18,000 of the money to get up to the 48. We have about 30,000 in the public works budget. We need another 18,000 to get to that project, just to get to the project that you already
48
have.
plus 18.
For the 2018 road patching, we need another 18,000. It's a $48,000 contract. We have 30 in public works budget. We need to add 18 to that.
Okay, so to bring it up to the 48.
Just to
bring it
get
up to
to
the
the
48.
Just that's what I was trying to clarify.
Just for the
Are we taking it from 48 to
contract.
66, or are we taking it from 30 to 48?
That's just to
Okay.
get to the 48 we have. And what I'm suggesting is, since we're uncertain about doing any repairs, additional work on Town Hall at this point, let's go ahead and put the rest of that money onto road repatching as well around town, because after the contractor got out there and saw things, they know very well.
So
what works.
those other things that they found are not included in that 48,000?
Right, correct.
So the $27,465 would go to those additional problems that they found.
Mm-hmm.
When you walk with the gentleman and you said that they increased some of the areas, does that increase the cost at that point?
Well, they get their bid is based on a square foot cost. There's 2 square foot costs, whether they're just doing a mill and overlay or whether they're doing excavation and base repairs. But based on the mill and overlay square footage, we looked at, originally we had areas where that we thought, and we had kind of had it broken down into smaller patches, to try to get as much as we could. When the contractor got out there and we're trying to show them, well, we wanted to do a 10 by 10 patch here and a 10 by 15 or 20 by 15 over here and patchwork in it. His recommendation was that to do larger areas in those roads to cover more square footage, but have it all more condensed and do a bigger area.
So that didn't increase the initial cost then?
We were getting the same square footage.
Same square footage, but we quickly doubled, almost doubled our square footage, and we didn't even get to all the areas.
Okay. So this initial $27,000 is going to go to those additional problems that they found in addition to the stuff that they already knew that they had to repair.
Right.
Okay, I got it now. All right, thank you.
And if I may elaborate a little bit, I went in Town Hall yesterday and 2 town managers ganged up on me wanting to know where we could get more money. With next fiscal year 19 that we're about ready to go into, through the user highway revenue, we're going to get $61,000. And then for the next 5 years, it's going to jump $15,000 to $76,000. And take a look in fiscal year 20 of getting a $350,000 loan somewhere and do major reconstruction projects throughout town and pay it back with the next 5 years highway user revenue. So just some food for thought there. But our streets, you know, I'm getting the sense that Gary's not real big. I mean, it's a quick fix on patching, but you're going to have to repair these roads.
Yeah, I just don't see continually throwing money at patching, and I think you really need to look at a longer range plan to do whole sections and redo complete road sections, even if you're doing, you know, half mile at a time or whatever that, you know, the money can get you at each year. You know, at least you have sections of road that are complete new roads and not patching it year after year after year.
So just some thought. So do you hear a motion to recommend the $27,465.65 be used to supplement the road patching project?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion by Councilman Paulsgrove, second by Councilman Hoffman, to move the remaining $27,465.65 to be used to supplement the road patching project. Any questions or comments?
I have a question.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Does any of that money get used to patch the sidewalks? I mean, particularly down there below High Street?
No.
Shouldn't be? I mean, that's probably in worse shape than the streets. I'm surprised nobody has fallen and broken their neck.
You make a good point, but this is what we have, so you can pick between a sidewalk or a street, but that's our choices. So if you want us to do some sidewalks, we'll do some investigation on sidewalks, and maybe with the money you're getting next year, start a sidewalk program.
Councilman Smith?
The only other question I had is that we are specifically talking about the money that was refunded, the $65,000. This has nothing to do with moving forward with the money that we will save on the deputy.
This is one-time money.
Fiscal year 18.
Got it, okay. Just wanted to clarify. All right, thank you.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? So carried. All right, any other old business? New business, College Avenue Water Main relocation financing, tab 8.
As you know, the first phase of the College and Blue Ridge project is the lowering of the water main, and you've awarded that bid for $185,000 to Mid-Atlantic Utilities. It's tab 9.
Yeah, we found it. It was 9, not 8. We found it. We're good.
So in addition, we're going to put the sewer lateral cleanouts in for those houses that are along that project. And we have an estimate on that $60,000 to do that. Now that'll come back as a change order. That's not incorporated yet. That'll come back as a change order, and you'll get to vote on it later when it comes in. But we're going to try and use the same contractor because they're a good utility contractor to do that work now. That brings the project to $245,000, and that gets to be a pretty good chunk of change. So what I was thinking you might want to consider is financing this for 10 years rather than taking all of that out of your enterprise reserve funds right now, given the fact that the Main and High Street streetscape project is still looming out there with a lot of unknowns. I'm being positive. I think the project's going to happen, so I'm being positive. So we actually have gotten 2 banks to give us financing offers. Farmers and Merchants from Westminster's offers a 10-year fixed-rate loan at 4.99%. ACNB offers 7-year fixed at 5.1 with variable rate after that. We think the Farmers and Merchants offer is more favorable to the town. So our recommendation is that the College Avenue water main and sewer cleanup project be financed with the Farmers and Merchants Bank loan offer dated May 2nd, 2018, and that is attached to this report. So you can see the details of that. We would be a quarterly payment. There's no penalty for prepayment, so if after 5 years somehow we're able to pay it off, that's good. And the Farmers and Merchants is very interested in doing some business with the town.
Does everybody understand what this is for?
I just want to make sure that I understand what this is for. So I think I know what the lateral clean out is, but just tell me what it is.
Okay, the sewer line that comes from your house goes out to the main in the street.
Right.
In new construction, they put out what's called a clean out, which is an entry point into the line from the house to the street where you can get in and clean out any roots or clog that gets into the town portion of the lateral, because from the lateral out to the street, it's the town responsibility. From the clean out to the street, that's town's responsibility. From the clean out back to the house, that's a homeowner's responsibility. And you might remember a little bit over a year ago, we went through a regular agonizing exercise because we don't have that. So homeowners are saying it's not our problem, it's yours. We're saying it's not our problem, it's yours. And we ended up with Mayor Roop and Councilman Paulsgrove and me and Public Works cleaning out those folks' sewer line.
The cleanouts clearly demarcate the public-private cutoff.
So they are where? At the sidewalk, at the street?
They're typically at the right-of-way of the road, which is the front part, or on or about there at that location, because the road is typically town, town-owned. So
All the new buildings have them.
Yeah, I know. I just wanted to, it was more for everybody else's. I thought I knew what it was, but I thought I think this is a good idea because
And that's about $3,000
doing it while we're doing the projects.
It's 21 houses.
Might as well do it while we're doing the rest of the projects.
Exactly.
The contractor will be mobilized, they can do that work as well as the water line work.
And you did, you did say there is no penalty if we pay it off.
Right.
Because I had discussions with both Frank and Gary. As mentioned, as Frank mentioned, we could pay it off right now, but I think it's just better that we go with the loan at this time, and after we get streetscape finalized, then we'll have a better idea of what we can pay less than 10 years.
You need a motion?
Need a motion?
I'll make a motion that we secure the loan to pay the...
I'll second.
What do we call it?
Laterals.
The College Avenue water main financing.
Yeah, that.
Okay. I thought that's what you said.
That's what I
Whatever it
said.
said, I second.
We have a motion and a second to go with Farmers and Merchants fixed rate loan at 4.99% for the College Avenue water main financing. Any questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed? So carried. Moving forward. Any other new business? All right, at this time, I think everyone here is well aware that this is Frank's last town council meeting. It's going to be mixed emotions from here on out. I'm going to let the audience go first. Then I will let the council have a few comments, many comments if they want. And then we have a few presentations, and I'll say my words if I can. And then we'll turn it over to Frank. So anyone from the audience? Chief Co.
I'm a man of few words.
A few clothes.
Well, and a few clothes, yes. But on behalf of the New Windsor Fire Department, it's been an absolute pleasure to work with you, Frank. You've been nothing but supportive, and any time we needed anything, we knew that you were, there with us. So I wish you the best in your retirement, and again, I can't thank you for all the things you did for the citizens on behalf of the fire department.
Thank you.
Mr. Steve Miller, Town Manager of Manchester. Nice to have you here.
Same here. I enjoy coming to New Windsor. I love it up here. Good evening, Mayor and Council, members of the audience. I've had the chance to work with Frank for many years when he was employed by the county and working for the town of New Windsor. We had a very good relationship. His background is public works, and my background is public works, so we know exactly, when we have questions. But it's been a pleasure. Frank was chairperson of the Carroll County WRCC. I've inherited that. Frank was kind of our liaison with all the town managers in the county. I inherited that. So I guess my next step is I'm out on retirement. I don't know. But Frank, on behalf of the Mayor and Council of Manchester and the staff of Manchester, we'd like to present you with this gift of appreciation, and it's been a pleasure. You have a good man following in Frank's footsteps, Gary. I've worked with Gary in the past for many years. We're very good friends. So you're blending right in, and your future is great. So, Frank, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Steve. Notice it's the faded like ours.
Yeah.
It's faded like ours. I think it's the same hat. It is. It's the same hat.
Thank you, Steve. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Class act. Thank you. Yes, Roberta?
Well, on behalf of the county, I'd like to say thank you for all you've done, both for the county and your service there, and also in your service here in New Windsor. You will be missed. I've enjoyed getting to know you in the 4 years that I've been county administrator, and I wish you the very best, and the entire county wishes you the very best in your retirement. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I may eventually forgive the town of New Windsor for stealing Gary from us. But it may take a long time. You really did get quite a gem. I mean, it was bad enough you stole Frank, but I guess you officially retired from the county. And now you've gotten another really good gem. So I'm sure you will have years and years of great service out of Gary as well. So.
And if you could take back a message to the county commissioners, we thank the Carroll County government for being our training center for our town.
You're welcome, but this is it. Okay. So thank you very much, and best of luck to both of you, and enjoy your retirement.
Thank you, Roberta. Appreciate it.
Frank, on behalf of the Sheriff's Office, and I've worked with you a couple months, so it's been a pleasure. I'm sure if Towson would have made it, he would have said the same. So congratulations and good luck. You're welcome.
Anyone else? At this time, I'll let council go. We'll just start from the left and go to the right.
Literally and figuratively, right? So Frank, I hardly got to know you, but what I do know, I really enjoy and appreciate. You always listen, you listen with respect, you don't make anybody feel like their opinions are not important and that they're not worthy of consideration. And for that, I really appreciate you. Not everyone can do that. I can't do that. But thank you again, and have a great time.
Frank, right to the point, because of you, I am a better town council member. You've taught me an immense amount, and it's been a pleasure working with you, and congratulations and best wishes in your retirement.
Thank you.
Frank, you've certainly been a blessing to the council, to the citizens, and to the town, and we're all the better for it. The hard work that you've done has made us all look good. That's a pretty difficult task sometimes, but you've done an excellent job for us, and we certainly appreciate that. and your retirement is well-deserved. Enjoy it.
Go ahead, Michelle.
Frank and I have worked together longer than any of you has probably even known him, with the exception of some people in the audience. We've been friends a long time, and I sincerely hope that continues. That's all I can do.
And Roberta should know that you helped us steal him. I second, third, fourth, everything everyone said, but one of the things I appreciate the most about you, Frank, is how well you put up with complaining citizens, because that, I think, is probably one of the hardest parts of the job. And I was often, because I did with the Facebook page, bringing those complaints to your attention, and I appreciate how patient and professional you always were and how responsive you always were to me as a council member. So, and I hope you get to sit in your chair. Enjoy your retirement.
Frank, people who know me know that I'm a man of few words. And I know that we have very different personalities. I tend to be a little bit more reserved and quiet, and you tend to get more out there. But I will personally miss the opportunity of seeing you in Ocean City from a Forrest Gump run. I think Monica and I 3 years in a row have arrived in Ocean City for the MML meetings as Frank comes back sweating profusely, and I shake his hand and it's like shaking a fish. And he tells me he's run some ridiculous amount of miles that he just kind of like, oh, it was just a short run. I ran 16 miles. But sometimes it just doesn't seem like thank you is enough. But thank yous, the value of thank yous, the value of thank yous can be found in the sincerity behind them. Every time I've ever dealt with you, it's been a pleasure. It's been informative. It has been professional. I felt welcome. I felt like my concerns were being listened to by somebody who cared. I don't think anybody who's ever met you or worked with you could ever deny that you have a passion for what you do, that you are extremely thorough, that you are extremely professional. It seems like every time I went anywhere representing this town, I would hear people say, oh, you can thank your town manager for that. And they'd say, some people would go, what's that, Frank? And I think every one of us has experienced that. To say that you're going to be missed doesn't seem to be enough either. And while I know that your replacement is going to do a great job, there was a sense of everything is going to be okay when Frank Schaeffer got up to speak. I haven't known you that long. I haven't known you as well as others. But I envy you not only for what you're about to do in your life, enjoy time with your family and your beautiful wife, but I envy you as a man for your dedication, your passion, your professionalism, and your sense of pride. And on behalf of the town of New Windsor, myself as a council person, but more importantly as a citizen of this great town, I thank you from absolutely the bottom of my heart. Thank you.
Donna,
Yes, yeah.
want to say a few words?
Do I have to get up? Frank, it's been a pleasure. Enjoyed it tremendously. I've learned a lot from you. Appreciate all of your hard work, especially as a resident of the town as well as an employee of the town. I wish you the best of luck. Sharon, I hope everything goes well.
Me too.
Thank you very much again. It's been a pleasure.
And we'll let you know that Kalina made a point not to have her baby just for you.
That's right. I held them in just for you, Frank.
Thank you.
No, it's been a pleasure the past 3 years. Jeez. Pregnant woman and emotional night. This is great. I have learned a lot. You made me love my job. I love going to work. Now I'm going to miss you.
Well, thank you.
Two things. Here's a card from the council and staff.
Okay.
Read it out loud.
There's a lot of individual comments.
Now that you're retiring, you can throw away your things to do list and replace it with one of these. Things I might do but will wait to think about a while longer. Things I'll do if I damn well please. That's my plan. Thank you.
On behalf of the council and myself, we pitched in and got a little something for you and Sharon. It's a little getaway, a gift certificate to the Refuge Inn down Schaeffer.
Oh, thank you.
You're going in July, she's going in September.
And there's a running joke. I'll just say that Frank was at a meeting one time and hung up his jacket, and someone didn't decide, they just thought it was their jacket, and they took it, and it was almost a brand new jacket. So it was kind of a running joke with the council, the running joke in Frank's family. So Cena and I decided to give you a gift certificate for a new jacket at LLB. And a plaque. I know you're not much on accolades and recognition, but this is well deserved, and hopefully I can speak. Frank Schaeffer, congratulations on your well-deserved retirement. The mayor, town council, and staff wish to convey sincere gratitude for the assistance, guidance, and the outstanding leadership you provided in the last 7.5 years. Your example of exemplary service can be followed in the future and cherished by those of us that were fortunate to experience it for ourselves. May 2nd, 2018.
I'm sorry. I was telling the mayor, that's the biggest plaque I've normally they're kind of like 3x5 cards.
Well, Frank, I'm going to probably just echo everybody else's comments here, especially Councilman Hoffman's comments about being a better councilman. I think all the council members are because of you, and I know I'm a better mayor because of you. I've learned so much in 7.5 years from you. Just the dedication that you have for the town. And, you know, some of the highlights I tried to go over in my head, you came on board just as we were right in the heart of the wastewater treatment plant. It was unfortunate that you weren't here probably a year before. I think we would have saved more money than what we did save with your experience and knowledge of such projects. Between you and Jack, made it more efficient, which saved us even more money in operating costs. When you got here, you had a big $46,000 reserve in enterprise fund. Because of your leadership, we now, in the capital budget and also the 3 Rs, have over $700,000, and that's basically gained us $100,000 each year. And we now have funding that we can do future projects. I mean, that's huge. I'm not sure if anybody really realizes what that means to the future of this town, that we can do things instead of putting them off and paying a higher cost later. You have been very receptive to the council's ideas, my ideas. I'm not sure you liked all my crazy outside-the-box thinking, because a lot of times I said, Frank, I got an idea. And you could just see this expression, like, here we go, let's hear it. But, it was great. No matter what my ideas were, you were receptive to them, and we usually worked out a good idea through it or a good plan through it. So many different things in town are better because of your time here. And to think, and this really sounds crazy, when I see a squirrel, I think of Frank. Now, let me finish. He came prior to, when he was working for the county, he came to town hall and was in the upstairs room, and he was talking to the town manager at the time, and Wally Brown and Mayor Sam Pierce, and a squirrel ran by the wires out in front of the town hall, and he just said, this is just so kind of relaxing. I really would like to work here someday. And then bam. So every time I see a squirrel, hey, you got Frank here. But Frank, like I say, I've learned so much from you, how to approach issues and how to go about doing business in a better way. And one of the things I will always remember, and I think you may have gotten this from Michelle, but I'm not sure who gets credit for it, but less is better. And I don't know how many emails I've sent you, and you told me to tone it down before I send it out, so thank you for that. But I just hope the people of New Windsor know how blessed we've been for the past 7.5 years. I can't imagine where we would be right now not having the reserve that we have and coming up. There's just no way we could do these major projects. There's just no way. And these projects need to be done and are going to be done because of your experience, your knowledge, and your foresight and your leadership. And then I'll echo Councilman Smith by saying from the bottom of my heart, and I think from representing all the citizens of New Windsor, thank you, and God bless, and have a long, happy retirement.
I do want to thank Mayor Roop and the council for the opportunity you gave me 7.5 years ago, as we've now documented. And it's been a rewarding, fulfilling, and challenging experience for me, but it certainly was everything I hoped it would be. And for that, I'm very grateful. I also want to thank the former council members that were the council that hired me. That included Tracy Albin, Steve Farkas, Kevin Knoll, and Sam Pierce. And I also want to remember Mr. Blackston for his short time. You don't accomplish anything by yourself. And I always appreciated the confidence that we had in each other and the good exchange of information, because that's how you have success. Everybody has success together. You have success alone. So thank you very much for that. And
you don't have success without good people around you. And we're fortunate to have some of the best people around ever. So I want to thank Donna for her work. I mean, when you get to work with someone for as long as we did, you get to learn a lot about them. And Donna has always been a strength. And one of the things I really dreaded was the idea that she might leave before I did. I'd have to figure out how she was doing her job. I want to thank also our public works people, Wayne and Larry and Dave. Certainly want to thank Karina. She's been a real treat to have in our office. We did the interview. We started the interview. She was the first person we interviewed. And as soon as we were done, I said, this is the person. We went through the whole process, but everyone else after that was second. So. I also want to remember a few of our employees that I worked with that are not here tonight. Roma Green, she was a charmer and a very strong person. Also Steve Strasburg and of course Dale Green. I want to also remember Dale Gray, our zoning administrator, Michelle, our town attorney, our two deputies, Corporal Townsend and Corporal Calusi, because without them, they really make a difference in this town. So, am I forgetting anybody? Is there, Jack. Every now and then you have an opportunity to work with someone extraordinary that just really does things that you can't quantify, but they just know what they're doing. They go about it. They do things, and you can rely on them explicitly. You don't have to guess what they're doing. You know they're doing the right thing, and that's Jack. And for anybody, I want to express my appreciation for our time working together. I feel like we're friends, we're co-workers, we're confidants, we're everything you want to be. And Tommy must know something that you would want to have in a friend and a co-worker. So I'm going to flip the table just a little bit here tonight. So I have a presentation. When I came here, there was some, how old were they? 50-year-old pumping stations. Yeah. And I was bound and determined that before I left here, we were going to get those stations repaired or replaced. And so we did. And those two stations had these beautiful nameplates on them. And this one had to be the one that's a Code Drive. So this is the Code Drive nameplate, built in August of 1964, and they came out of service about 2013, I think. So, and the only person, Jack tried to explain those stations to me, I never could understand. So, I got the manual here. So I don't think you'll ever have any use for this manual. You can hang in your little barn out there when Judy sends you out. And say, I did this.
Quite a while, did a little bit of work in these houses when it was built. And about a month ago, he come in, I got a complaint. Okay. A pump's out. So 34 years old, and I thought I ought to get a little bit more life out of it.
That concludes my presentation.
Thank you. And Gary, I don't know if you know your contract is good for 20 years. So we don't have to go through this all the time.
Revert on notice, 20 years.
Yeah, 20 years, we'll need another employee.
We're working on it.
And Sharon, thank you for your support. I'm sure there was times where you'd rather have Frank at home. Well, now you got him, so be careful what you wish for. Announcements. August 7th, as Councilman Smith alluded to, August 7th is National Night Out. Memorial Day service is Sunday, May 27th, 6 p.m. at Presbyterian Church. We have Elaine May Stem, retired Sergeant Major, United States Marine Corps, is going to be our keynote speaker. So come out and support that. Carnival, June 4th through the 9th. And the auxiliary has a couple events coming up. May 12th, fish and shrimp dinner. And there was one other one.
The comedy show.
Comedy show. Thank you. Thank you. So see Tommy if you want tickets. So support the local volunteer fire department. Anybody have any other announcements? Cake. Oh, we do have cake. Cake and refreshments back here. Yes. Yes. So, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I move.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? Second. Motion and second to adjourn. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Thank you, Frank Schaeffer.
That's okay.